Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Uplifters podcast. Today, we have a very, very special guest, Kaaren Hall, the founder of uDirect. And I'm super excited to speak with Kaaren because she has done a lot of wonderful things in life, went through a lot of good things in life, good and bad. And today, we're going to have an authentic conversations of what that means to transform any of those situations into opportunities and learn from those challenges and inspire others. So Kaaren, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it, Adam.
Absolutely. Kaaren, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did we get here today?
I don't know. I just woke up here. Well, I mean, like everyone, you go to school and you don't know what you want to do, and then you start finding what you're good at, and you just sort of head in that direction. And you get encouraged, like, oh, you're really good at this, and then you find your space, and then you start having goals and things you want, and you just keep heading in that direction. I'd say that that's, how I got here, but it was really first off through broadcasting initially. I was a radio announcer for 17 years, and I did, like light rock and smooth jazz and all those sorts of things for a long time. News, different things in different cities. So that was fun. And then I made the logical transition into real estate, like so many. Got into first property management while I was still in radio. And also when I was still in radio, got a real estate license. And I was a realtor for a year. And then got into mortgage loan servicing. And I did that for a while. And from then, it was really great. I mean, I often thought, like, I really had high hopes for myself and what I would be able to accomplish. And I'm like, why am I doing loan servicing? Like, how is this gonna, but it turns out that that's a very thing that I need to run this company. So I learned more in that job, because sometimes you just, like, why am I here? You ask yourself. And then later on you find out the answer. So, but then I got into loan origination until the recession and found a job with a self-directed IRA company, another company. And after 2 years, jumped over and opened my own company. And now it's been almost 12 years.
Yes. So you're extremely successful today, and uDirect is a wonderful, wonderful company. I had the pleasure to learn from you and learn with you and share the information with other professionals in the industry. And so what was your upbringing like in terms of financial education? I know you and I talked about how we don't learn about money in school. And
no,
then,
I did. Yeah.
How do you translate it into what you're doing today with people?
I didn't learn anything about money growing up at all, except, we weren't wealthy. And so it was a lot, and there were 4 kids. So it's always, no, we can't afford that kind of thing. And so but I think what that taught me is being frugal and valuing what I had, and, and that sort of thing. So, it's a really good lesson to have that kind of imposed discipline, maybe. So because then when you're an entrepreneur, you've got to go through the peaks and valleys. It's not all, driving a Ferrari and drinking a drink with an umbrella in it.
Right.
Sometimes you get a big tax bill and then you got to cut back, and you know what I mean? It was a great teaching opportunity, but even through high school, I don't think I learned much about finances, or college even. It's just budgeting for my own, for myself, my own little budget. But I think where I really learned was getting into the mortgage industry. And then that just taught me so many things, like looking at other people's tax returns. What do they do? How do they earn money? Calculating, income to debt ratios, and looking at what other people's bills look like. And just, wow, I learned so much from how other people manage their money and what they were able to do. And then learning, I think that was one of the biggest steps forward. Getting my real estate license and learning about mortgages taught me so much about really the basis of wealth, which is real estate, isn't it? I mean, and so from there, that was just the biggest building block, I suppose. And then after that, I mean, I keep all my, I budget everything. I've taught my kids how to do it. And they're very frugal. My son is a big Dave Ramsey follower.
Yeah.
And my daughter's also extremely good with money. And I talk to the kids about money. It's not something that my parents talked to me about. Or like how they managed the budget, or how much there was and what they did with it. I mean, a lot of families don't, but But then now at this point, my kids are in their early 20s. So, we talk about budgeting and what it looks like and what you have to do. Maybe you can have everything you want, but you have to have what you need, like, insurance, and you have to have grown-up things. They call it adulting.
Yes. I'm curious, who were some of your mentors or maybe books that you've learned a lot from, or role models as you were growing up, either as a child, teenager, adult, and in your business career now?
I'd say my first real mentor was when I was in high school. And when I was a high school sophomore, there was a man named Wayne Anthony, and he came to the school. He was a special education teacher, but he became the sponsor of the Key Club. And Key Club is a branch of Kiwanis. And he was amazing. I mean, he still is amazing. And he kind of like adopted 300 kids. Well, we were all in this big Key Club. Yeah. And I became vice president. I learned some leadership. I had learned leadership skills and developed my leadership skills there. And we ended up winning the first place in our single service project and other things. And I also did an essay contest then, where like an impromptu essay where they just sit in a room, they give you a topic and write. And I won an award, and it was really fun. And it was somebody who really took me under their wing, and along with a lot of people. And I'm still really good friends with all those people from high school as a result. It was such an enriching time. But then going on into work, I think probably when I was at IndyMac Bank, I had a boss named Mike Rich. And Mike says, you have to read The Richest Man in Babylon, and Think and Grow Rich. That is just the bare bones beginning. If you want to succeed, those are great, great books. And I forgot, by the way, when I was 29, which was obviously last week, right? So
yes.
But when I was, Tony Robbins came out with, I forgot which program it was, but it was a 30-day cassette tape program. That's really going to tell you how long ago it was. I was 29. But and every day I would listen to it. And Tony is well, obviously he's one of the most gifted humans, but the way he would always say, hey, congratulations, you made it another day. Most people don't get this far, but you did. And it was so encouraging. And I kept going and listening. But I think what I drew from that was to be an action taker. You have to take massive action. And that is the one thing that taking massive action is what always gets me through anything.
Yes. Well, someone that looks at you today, they see someone who's very successful, a leader, run a wonderful company, oversee an extraordinary amount of money. What are some of the obstacles and challenges and things that goes along the way that really is behind all the success? There really is kind of like the journey to success.
There really is, and it's so insightful of you to ask, because right. So I started this company. I was so excited about all the up things, like, oh, I love being organized and the whole thing. I knew what to do. I really knew what actions to take administratively, structurally, for the structure of the company, and plus socially and meeting people and helping them. So I really had all those skills that I developed throughout my life, and it's like, boom, I can use everything I ever did in this job, and I'm so excited. And then boom, here comes some challenges that, boy, you don't expect. Like some of the challenges include probably one of my friends, somebody in the social circle that I hang out with, and ended up stealing money from people, and some of them were my account holders. And then that was nuts, because obviously people got hurt. So what happened was, I actually discussed this with the head of enforcement for FINRA. I happened to be in Washington, D.C. I said, this thing happened. How can I help, my account holders? Yeah. And they said, well, tell them to, call these people, the Department of Business Oversight. It has a different name now, but it was called the Department of Business Oversight then. So I told all these victims of this crime to contact them. Well, because she and I were friends, and we would go out to breakfast every once in a while, that kind of thing. And they thought that I was in cahoots with her. So I got investigated. And so you don't see that coming. You just don't see that coming. But it was stressful, obviously. And it's like, okay, well, and to be accused of something you didn't do. If you did something, there's proof. But if you didn't do something, there's no proof of it, right? Because you didn't do it. So I got a letter from the Department of Business Oversight, and I called the guy and I said, hi, I said, I got your letter and I'll fully cooperate, but I don't do what you think I do, which the letter said that I was acting as I was affecting transactions. In other words, like acting like a broker dealer. Mm. And I said, well, I'm not, but I'll cooperate. So I, retained counsel and learned a lot about that, and then had a really fabulous representation. And so we got that settled in very quickly because, we do, what do you call, disclaimers on everything, saying that, we don't give investment advice, that, you invest at your own risk. Our clients sign hold harmlesses and so forth. And so that was cleared quickly. And then after that was cleared, I got a letter in the mail. Oh, guess what? You're getting audited. Like, okay, okay. And so that's, and you hear audit and it seems stressful because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yes.
I have great CPAs though. And I just gave them my QuickBooks. Here you go, IRS, look at everything. And they did. And the auditor told my CPA, said, tell her she's getting an A+ on her audit. Oh,
that's wonderful. Wow.
Because of course, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So of course. And so I got audited, the business and personally, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So got through that, a little stress, but a lot of stress. I'm not going to lie. That is not a fun day when you get that letter.
Yeah. Anytime you deal with the government or with any regulating body, it's extremely stressful. And, there's a lot of anxiety around it because there's a lot of unknown. And even though you do everything right,
right.
maybe you didn't cross a T or dotted an I, and that could be a big issue.
Or a fine or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fine, right.
Exactly.
Very stressful, yeah.
In hindsight, I can smile, but I was not smiling so much then.
Oh, sure.
Whenever but what I came to, I'm glad that you asked because I can share this, maybe it'll help people. But what I came to realize as an entrepreneur is that these things, these problems, these challenges hit you like waves on the beach. You know what I mean? It's like, boom, they hit you and it kind of knocks you back for a second, but then they recede. Then here comes another one and it's going to recede. So what I learned after going through a couple of these is that, hey, guess what? This is just the initial shock. I'll get over it. I'll resolve it. Come to the next thing. So the next thing is that the FBI showed up. Mm. And so I get a call from the receptionist, downstairs. Yeah, hi, Kaaren, the FBI's here for you.
Wow. Wow.
I know. Well, they weren't here for me. They're here to talk about these people.
Right.
So it wasn't about me, but it was about them. So I come on in and he was a super nice guy. And we talked about, hey, this is what I know. And, and then they subpoenaed some records and I provided the records. And actually those people are in jail now, which is super sad. It's super sad, but we went through that whole thing. So as a result, I've got friends at the FBI now, and the IRS, they know what my business is all about, and the Department of Business Oversight knows what my business is all about, and what we do, how we do it, and everything. So like so many things, when you go through something really difficult, it can turn out to be the very best thing ever. Once you're through it, you can look back and say, well, look, it just cleared the air. It's just like cleaning your house. It was hard, but now we're done. So
you've grown from it. Yes.
Gave me a lot of confidence too, just going forward, because we were just approved by everyone. So
that's an extraordinary seal of validation that you're doing things right in the business.
And the whole thing took like probably a year to get through all of these things. So it was quite a year, but there have been other bumps in the road, but that's something you don't think is coming as an entrepreneur. Yeah. So yeah.
And then there are people also that might be going through stuff in their life. People might be having family situation. You're the embodiment of inspiration for women and everyone, really. As you shared with me that you were a single mom and you started this business during a recession, and a lot of other things that happened, and you're pulled through it. You uplifted yourself and others throughout that journey. Mm-hmm. So what keeps you going? What's the vision and purpose behind it for you?
Well, I think initially, when I started the company, I started it with, it was the recession. And so Yeah, so I just started on a shoe store. I mean, trying to talk about bootstrapping a company, that was this.
Yeah.
And it was me in a executive suite with a laptop and a borrowed chair and a borrowed desk, and a cup of coffee, and just go. So then I just went everywhere. I drove everywhere. I drove all up and down California and going to real estate investor club meetings. And but what kept me going was first my kids, because I had to take care of them. You know what I mean? The company was something that provided for them, but then but it was also at the same time something super really good friend of mine said. She said before that I founded the company to visualize what I wanted, and she says add from ethical sources. At the end, it's like, that's true. You can get wealthy from unethical sources as well. So, but I had a vision, and I was journaling and the whole thing about, I'm so very happy and grateful now that I have a steady income from ethical sources and that sort of thing. I mean, boom, here we are. So that was great. And I've been able to help a lot of people, but also I put my kids through school, and now they're adults and they're heading out on their own, and, able to scoot them in the right direction. So that's great.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest lessons you think you learned in life? And what would you say to women out there and mothers? We're near Mother's Day now.
Yeah.
And, people who just raise families, and really anybody who could get an inspiration.
Yeah, it's stressful. Okay. So you're dealing with, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, sometimes it's great. Sometimes you're just like, wow, really? One more thing. Yeah. But just to, have faith and realize that it's going to hit you, and then you resolve it. And there's going to be something else. But in the meantime, just try to enjoy the peaks, because there'll be peaks and valleys. Right now, for today, it's a peak. Tomorrow could be a valley. You don't know. So you have to enjoy what you have. And that's a very hard earned lesson. But I think having support from people like I belong to Vistage. I've been in a Vistage group probably since, for a lot of years. And so I've got a group of CEO peers, and I hear their stories and comparing, like one CEO, well, I mean, you just hear their problems and you compare, and you just think, wow, I will take my problems any day. Right. And you're able to support and help other people, but also just be grateful that you only have your own problems.
Yeah.
Because it could always be worse,
Yeah, it's amazing how mothers and women are such heroes. And on top of that, to run a company like you're running, and to build a community around you like you're building, and to really give back, it's really, really extraordinary. I'm curious, what kind of legacy and empowerment and footprint do you want to leave in this universe?
Well, I think that through me comes a lot of things. I mean, with this company, it's of the employees, which I haven't talked about, and each one of their lives, and being able to cultivate their skills and help them grow as professionals, and in the challenges in their own personal lives, and to be there and help them have quality lives too. And also, I think what the legacy will be, all these account holders who've taken control of their retirement account. I mean, we have thousands and thousands of account holders who are out there self-directing, and they're building their retirement. So there will be all these other people out there who have saved and are going to have a more comfortable retirement, because they took the leap, and they've invested, And it's kind of a grassroots thing, the way it just lifts everybody up.
Yeah. Can you tell people who might not be familiar the Cliff Note version of the self-directed IRAs? Because maybe some people are familiar with traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, SEP IRAs, or 401ks, right?
Right.
What's the self-directed IRA?
Well, it's all of those, because an IRA is an IRA. What makes it self-directed is a kind of asset you can put in that IRA. So the rules for any other IRA are the same, but a self-directed IRA lets you invest in alternative assets like real estate and notes and precious metals to build your financial freedom.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And Kaaren, you're definitely a leader in the industry. So I invite our audience to get in touch with you and learn more. These great opportunities. So every time that we have a show like this and an episode, we give an open mic to our guests to share things that are important to them invite other people or share something about the company. So I want to give that to you. And so take it away.
Well, another way that I help people to learn about building their wealth is I have a real estate investment club as well. It's called OCREA. So in every metropolitan statistical area, the MSA, right, they have a REIA, which stands for Real Estate Investors Association, REIA. So I have OCREA, and I founded it in 2012. And we have thousands of people that come to our meetings. We have a meetup group, but every month on the second Thursday of every month, it used to be at 6:30 at the Avenue of the Arts Hotel in Orange County, but now it's online on Zoom, available to everyone everywhere, the second Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And so every month, we don't sell anything, and we're not trying to get people to invest with us. That's not what it's about. We're not pitching, but what we're doing is teaching you. Like, we're going to have, all different kinds of people teaching about tax strategies, or, hey, maybe here's a different asset class. Here's mobile homes. What do you do about that? Here's how you invest in, notes, or here's how you buy performing and non-performing debt. We have a note panel every November to talk about, loan servicing and first liens and second liens and all the different things that go with note investing. And so many different ways to learn. So that is something that I would like to talk about, and say that if anybody listening who has questions about self-directed IRAs, or maybe you left a company that you used to work for and you've got a large 401k, maybe 403b or 457, and you want to roll it over into a self-directed IRA and invest, that's what we do. So we can talk to you about what you want to invest in, and help you steer clear of what we call prohibited transactions. But that's how we help people, is to help them take that money and put it to good use, right?
Yeah, that's wonderful. It always, every time I talk to you, just I'm pretty amazed of your knowledge and your humility, and how much down to earth you are, and how much you're willing to give back. And so this would be a phenomenal value to share with other people. And we'd leave the links below in this video, and we'll share that and spread the word. And I hope you out there continue to uplift yourself from any situation, educate yourself, empower yourself financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and then give back and share the wealth. Thank you so much, Kaaren. It's been an absolute honor, and I'm looking forward to have more conversations like that with you.
Excellent. Thanks.